Oh, I guess that's how we're starting the video today. Hi. So it's gonna be another self-read day today. Cause I guess almost like how it was roughly, I'll say like October of last year. Um, I'm using this today, so you may hear some click clacking. And so I wasn't even going to set up my camera, but I did. And now I feel like the light is too dim. But also it's cycling, so it may not be. There we go. Sure, why not? So anyway, it was about last October when I was working my job at the time, and I was just walking. Ooh. Um, and I had a realization of like one of the things that really set my life on a different course was shifting focus from things that I couldn't do to things that I could do. Um, and then today I'm leaving my current job, and like I've only been there for 2 weeks. I guess three technically. This is my third week. One, no, that's 1 week. That's 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. And I already love it, which is a great thing, right? I guess. Um, but for a while, as in for probably about a year, honestly, probably for about 3 years, at least two and a half, I knew that I've been in this period of being strongly encouraged to consider me more and more and more and what I want, what I actually want. And it was honestly a little difficult because like if you know me in real life, I'm pretty chill about most things. I'm usually like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to eat. I'm kind of sort of down for anything. I know the things that I don't like. Sometimes I'm down to try something new. I mean, more often than not, especially nowadays, I'm down to try something new. Sometimes I'm down to try something that I didn't have a particularly good experience with. I'll be like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it, mate. Like salad, sure. um, but I've known, and it's been strongly reminded to me or brought to my awareness again, um, that a lot of the things that didn't happen or didn't work out, it's because it was not. It's more. It's almost. It's a little bit more than like it wasn't for me. It's that again, like the universe was putting me in this position to really do and consider what it is that I want to do. And so, hey, Kidua, how you doing? And so I was leaving work today, and honestly, one of my favorite parts of the day is leaving work, or anytime I step outside the door, because the smell is amazing. I love the smell. Like I smelled it growing up, from elementary school to church to all of these other things. You finally got the Demon Slayer manga. When I like from here, because I got a bifocal, so it was like kind of half focused. I thought that said the Demon Slayer earrings, like the Hanafuda earrings, and I got excited. But I'm personally not a manga reader, so if you could not spoil it, that would be amazing. I just like watching. I'm more of a watcher than a reader. Um, but yeah, I was leaving and I was like, oh my gosh, I love the smell. Like it smells amazing. Um, and then it took me to like, I'm working a job like in so many ways. I've kind of been realizing over the past week or so that it is my dream job. And is it my dream job forever? Maybe not. Is it a little bit of nostalgia? I think it's more than just that. There are aspects of it that I really love. Um, and like I love the people that I work with. I've always, more often than not, worked with people that I love though. It's not difficult. Um, well, I guess it can be depending on the people. And everything in life is just kind of sort of super fluid and just like happening. Like a lot of things are just happening. And I get this idea of like, oh my gosh, I would love to do this. And I go to HR and I'm talking to her about my idea. And we're talking about like how like London is my favorite city. And then she was like, oh no, like I've had two bad experiences with London and I'm never going back. I was I was like, okay, to that one point, very valid, extremely fair. To the other point, yeah, also valid and fair. But I love it. And again, like for a minute, that idea has been sitting in my mind, as have a few things been just like cooking in the manifestation stew pot, we'll say, simmering. And I talked to her about it, and she was like, oh my gosh, like that sounds like a really cool idea. Like you should go ahead and do it. Whereas at the old place, I feel like it may have been more of a like, oh, like we don't really do that, or I don't know about that. I mean, it might not have been, honestly, but the same level of opportunity didn't exist there. And again, no problem, Kidwa. Like anytime you gotta come and go, it's fine. I don't mind. I'm probably just gonna be talking to myself for this one anyway. Some of these I watch back. I actually do watch myself and I enjoy it. I don't watch like all of my videos. Sometimes I'll play myself before I go to sleep. Not too often lately, but or sometimes something will happen and I'll be like, "Ooh, this energy came up before. Let me try to find that video," and then I'll watch it, and then I'll be like, "Oh, yep, there it is." But anyway, um, I should probably just like search self read on my channel and go back to like the first one I see. I think that'll be cool. Um, so I walked out today and I was like, because I've known as much as some of the no's were like disappointing or whatever, like I've known that like it's because I need to find the thing that I love or that I like or that I'm passionate about. And again, for a long time, I was just open. Like I'm open to go wherever, I'm open to do pretty much anything. I'm not set on anything. I'm in a period of like building experiences. And if I like it, I'll love it. If I don't, I won't. Like, you know what I mean? And it was like, no, like you need to find the thing that you like. You need to find the thing that you like. And so there have been periods of movement. There have been periods of like that 15-month period of my life that was concluding, like that concluded in my Saturn return. Um, Again, it was extremely valuable for me being able to take the opportunity that have taken. It's been extremely valuable in me feeling as comfortable where I am and me feeling as capable as I do, or knowing that I'm as capable as I am. It's this period, I feel like there's been, it seems like every area and aspect of sector of my life, I'm being asked to like release resistances. And it's not because certain things are going to be my experience. It's not because certain whatever is going to happen or not happen. It's just because like those limitations aren't necessary. Those limiters, those restrictors aren't necessary. Sometimes it's easier than other times, but I guess ultimately, but at the end of the day, I work around to it. No matter how resistant I am at the beginning, then I let go of resistance. I flow. I do whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. Um, and yeah, it's just been little things, I guess, and big things. But it's like, wow. I'm glad that other things didn't work out. I'm glad I ended up where I did. And more importantly, again, like I'm glad that the things that I continue to want to do, it's like there are provisions made for it. Again, like I'm still going through all of the orientation and onboarding stuff. Well, I finished it today. Um, but looking at like what the company is about and how it conducts business and like different stuff like that, ways that it recognizes people as people, and like ways that it honors its global presence. It's just like it's alignment. Like again, I'm sure. Well, I'm not even gonna say that. I got in and I found out that I don't want to say better than advertised because I haven't experienced it yet. But what I do, believe you me, like because that's something that I've deeply like desired. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes, that sounds like a great idea." She was like, "I'll like look into it." And then I was like, "Can I just like reach out to somebody and be like, hey?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And don't get me wrong, like I work in quality and like I feel like it's a decent spot for me, honestly, because I can be a little like anal about some things. I'm like, that don't look right. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. I don't have any Virgo in my chart, but I have a lot of Earth. My moon and rising are in Taurus. My midheaven, Uranus and Neptune, Neptune being like my ruling planet in Capricorn. Like Saturn has a heavy influence in my chart. My sixth house, like, is cusp in Virgo, I believe. Yeah, hold up. Virgo, yeah, Virgo, Leo, Libra, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. And then I got a planet in there. My Chiron is in there in my sixth house, but the 10th house is the house of career. And anyway, when I'm at work, I can be more of an earth sign than a chaotic water sign. Um, and it's like, yeah, okay, let's go. So, since I've used the wild, of course, since I've used the wild unknown, not wild unknown, since I've used the SKT Vitruvian edition recently, I pulled the Revelations edition. And I'm gonna do a self read, I guess. And then I might just like pull cards at the end. I might not. I don't know, honestly. Um, but I guess it felt like important for me to come on here and share because while I do reading, like this channel, honestly, is just like whatever I want to put on it. Like I can't change the name of this channel, but if I could change the name of this channel, it wouldn't have like tarot in it or anything. I just like pulling cards and I pull cards sometimes and I like playing games, so I stream very, very, very rarely. There were more streams. I think I unlisted them or private them like back in the beginning. There's like some One Piece and maybe some Warframe and something else. I don't know. But I also just like vlog and talk about my life. That's honestly what this channel started as. So my first video was terrible and so cringy. It's so cringy. It's me. That is so indicative of this channel though. It's me a few weeks or maybe like a month before I went to college. And I was like, hey, I'm making this channel as like a video diary basically for myself, for me to watch myself in these different phases of my life. And as I start this whole new chapter and this whole new journey, I would love somewhere to put it. And now I'm doing like other things and the theme sort of continued in a way, which is kind of cool, I guess, because that's how this channel was born. And I keep doing it. Um, It'll be crazy if I like actually keep using this channel in the next few years because I've done my like work on myself, work on my heart, work on my mind, work on this, work on that phase. Now we're entering like the living life part of it. I'll probably still be here. I don't know if y'all will be, but and I don't know what I'll be doing. But I guess also too, like I said last time with my like be careful what you wish for or be careful what you declare to the universe because the universe is listening. Um it's also what I wanted, it's also what I asked for. So but anyway, like I said, I realized today that like this is what I wanted in life. I'm working that for a company that I love. Like I love what they stand for, and I love how they conduct business. I love how they treat people, and I work with people who I love because I feel like a lot of them, in a lot of ways, like they fit in to that. I think it's also super interesting that, again, just like speaking to alignment and stuff like that, like everybody that like in my sort of position that I've taught, like we all watch anime. Like, and we all play games. And I work with the Pisces. We started at the same time. And we're talking about Pisces stuff. It's not Pisces stuff in particular, but it's stuff that like probably stereotypically the upper majority of Pisces are like into or open to or will talk about. Just like at my last place, the other Pisces that I worked with and the Aquarius, like, it just happened, which is cool, I guess. Because I did want, in a way, I wanted more of that overlap, but in a way, I also didn't need it, especially now because I have a community of people that I can like go and talk to about like spiritual stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? I've been fortunate in that way within the past year when I had that, like, I don't have to leave home. I don't have to, like, whatever to find what I'm looking for in life. But the universe did show me that I have to be open to actually doing, speaking, being present, and receiving those things too, which was a difficult part at different points, more difficult in some than others. You know, bottom line is the universe knows what it's doing when we ask for things. At least it's been my personal experience. I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for anybody but me. And sometimes I can't even speak for me because what do I know? Right? I live life another day, another minute, another year, and everything is what I knew that it could be. Anyway, so for Patrick, let's get three main cards. Oh, these cards have titles. So we're gonna get a title. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle, cut, and then it'll be the title, and then it'll be like the card meaning, and then I'll do it two times. Or not. Sure. Just You see that? The wish granted. Jupiter and Pisces. Yeah. With the Ace of Pentacles, Bread of Life at the bottom of the deck. So this is the first one. The title is The Wish Granted with the Bread of Life. Ace of Orbs, The Deepening. I was watching a reading today. I think his name is Devin Serpent Tarot. I don't know. He popped up on my recommendations and I clicked on him. And the Fool came out. This card makes me think of the Fool. And this is double. No, it's not double Earth. This is probably what, Lake over Earth? I don't know. There's something about the Fool holding major arcana energy in a way that, like, after the Fool makes it from the magician to the world, he or she, the Fool, starts all over. But this time, the Fool has what they've taken at every stage and every step along the way. So it's like the Fool in its first pass is just the Fool, it's a person. But on subsequent passes or after it attains everything that it needs from magician, empress, high priestess, emperor, hierophant, all the way to the moon, the star, the sun, judgment, the world, it's like they become major arcana. And you could say it's because of all of the initiations they go through and the laws of manifestation and the ways that they like sort of use their intuition and discernment to navigate life while also at the same time the way that they conduct themselves and use their energies and take advantage of opportunities to make life to get some of the experiences that they want to have, how it becomes like this basically like the magician. Then it's like more major arcana, it's more interactive than it is necessarily whatever it is before. This is like thank you, I mean it's like literally everything. And as you like you go back to what 2019, 2020, like late 2019, early 2020, me saying like I want everything and I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to get it. It's required a lot. It's required a lot. And I feel like in hindsight, none of it seems too difficult, honestly. Even the challenging parts, even the frustrating parts, don't seem too difficult because of the gift of hindsight, number one, but because I really want what I want and I really don't want what I had. But it feels like that's what the bread of life is doing. Like graciously, gratefully, and humbly, maybe humble, yeah. Humbly, gratefully, and graciously accepting and receiving all that it is that she's wished for, all that it is that she wants. Boom, the wish granted. I wished for everything. It does require more of me. Again, it requires more of me than I would have been ready to give, willing to give, or comfortable giving in the beginning. It requires like a more decisive, a more not aggressive, action oriented me. Like it requires me like stepping out and making requests or voicing what it is that I want sometimes rather than like just purely going with the flow and quietly hoping that opportunities would just find me or that somebody would know what I want and just like be like here you go, right? But again, now I don't mind actually like initiating. And it's taken all of those challenges that I wouldn't have. It's like it's the how things find us through our path of least resistance, which is probably also why I'm trying to, or not trying, why I'm being guided and led to reduce resistance basically across the board. Because at this point, if something isn't aligned, or if I like, if a situation isn't for me, like, I'm not going to just stay in it because of whatever. And if I do, I am internally to the point where I won't allow myself to for too long before things are like, okay, yeah, I got to say something. I got to do something. I can't just, nope, not anymore. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. And so there's a lot of stuff I don't have to worry about. Things find us through the path of least resistance, reduce resistances. Some of those things, though, like I was a tower chaser. I wouldn't say I still am. I think my focus has shifted from chasing towers to chasing the sun, maybe. While also realizing that I don't have a 24-hour day, meaning that the sun is going to set and then it's going to be nighttime. And when it's nighttime, there are still things for me to do. So that when the sun rises again, I'm prepared, I'm ready. Internal, external. But yeah, in the beginning, I was chasing towers because I knew a lot of the things that I was like not accepting. I knew a lot of the things that I was like very afraid to the point where I wouldn't even allow myself to try certain things. And I also knew that everything that I wanted lied on the other side of those fears. So I started chasing towers and working through fears, getting over fears. And it was like anything I'm afraid of, I know it's a blockage because I'm the one making my choices and decisions. And when I say no, it's because of those fears. I don't want to say no anymore. So, and again, I phrase it that way because a lot of the things I wouldn't have asked for or I wouldn't have voluntarily did. Like if I could 100% control my path, I would have never gone down those alleyways to discover the forums that lied on the other side. It's just like an opening. You go down the alley and then it's like open. Um, that's why I phrased it that way. But now it's more like I want the things that I want. I want to push myself. I want to experience a variety of things. And I want to at least try. I was going to drink mead. I was going to drink mead, but I'm not. It's fine. I need to hydrate. I feel like I haven't been drinking as much water, honestly. And it's also like a good thing that for some reason I've just been like more focused on my health. I've been eating better. I've been exercising very regularly, which I didn't think I would be this consistent at. I didn't think it'd be this easy. Um, but yeah, I know I understand why those things are important because they are. Um, so that's the first one. The wish granted with the Ace of Pentacles motivating it. Now, hey Holly, how are you doing? Have a safe drive home. Ooh, the Four of Wands and the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is the grotesque in this deck. It's the thing that separates us. It's the thing that makes us unique. This makes so much sense. It's the thing that I've been putting on the back burner and avoiding since like, well, forever or for a while, but one that I've also, again, thanks to Rob, I've been working more on like ignoring less. This is that Chiron and Leo. This is the opportunity right now to like incorporate those things, to welcome it to the function, to bring it to the party. You know what I mean? So I can be a wholer self. And then boom. But yeah, that's what that is. I'm not taking y'all. Oh, but look, there's the Four of Wands again. Okay. So the next one, I'll give it 2 and then I'll cut, right? And then the top will be, oh, never mind. Here is the title. It's the Eminence. This is literally the reason why I pointed out the person in the water in the grotesque. Because I like shuffled the cards before I came live and the Eminence came out and it was her up here. 9 of Pentacles. The Eminence, bottom of the deck with the message of the Outlaw, which is water, which is Neptune, which is Pisces, Hangman. We got Earth in the bottom. We got water in the bottom. This is me. My big 3. I think I'm more Earth than I am water. With my elemental breakdown, I think my number 1 element is what is that, dude? It's an old show. Anyway, yeah, I think it's like Earth. I think it's like 4 Earth, 3 water, two fire. No, two air and one fire. Because I got Saturn and Jupiter in air. My Venus is in fire. My Mercury, my Sun, my Mars, and my Pluto are in water. So it's 4 water, 3 earth. Because it's my moon, my Uranus, my Neptune, but also my rising. So it's kind of like 4 4. And then, yeah, anyway. If I don't count my ascendant, then I'm more water, and then earth, and then air, and then fire, which is, if you know me, very accurate. But if you could see me now, that balance is shifting to incorporate more fire. Because when we include my Chiron in my North Node, then I have 3 fire. But that was inaccessible for a long time. Anyway, so now we have the eminence with, there's a lot of earth. Oh, this is the same. What's interesting is through the I Ching, this is the first one, right? You see these 2 symbols. This is the first I Ching. And then on the second one, it's literally the same 2 symbols, but they're reversed. So what was on top is now on bottom. What was on bottom is now on top. Look at that. Wow. I feel like that in and of itself has meaning. You know what I mean? Which is basically like all of the parts of me, all of the things that I very much so am that I wasn't in those times of great fear. But now that we're coming out of those periods of great fear, it has also been my challenge to incorporate those parts of myself more. And as I incorporate them more, I want to be them more. Because I honestly love I love being me. I've always loved being me, except for when I don't. But when I do, I love how my mind works. I love how I think about things. I love how I can be considerate. Sometimes, especially if I'm feeling petty, I love how I also don't put up with stuff. I love that I don't allow myself to be taken advantage of. But I love that, or I try to be, and this is another thing that's more, it's part of the resistance that I'm being called to release. I don't want to be jaded. And I think when I meet new people, I give people the opportunity to show me who they are. Mm, more or less. Some people I just like, the vibes are not. Some people it's like magnetic, but like repulsive. And I'm just like naturally like, nope, I don't know what it is about that person. I don't want anything to do with them. But anyway, like I really do. um Sometimes I am like, why am I like this? But then I'm like, you love it. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I love being me. Um and again, that's been a process honestly since the top of 2020 and then like mid 20, I feel like the top is like in isolation in my chart, and it doesn't like to be in Aries, but my Venus is what it's exalted in, but it didn't work out for me because of trauma. So um early 2020 was like relaxing back into the Venus. Honestly, was that early 2019? Early 2019 was me learning to depend and rely on people again. Or again, like honestly, kind of sort of for the first time. Because for a long time, even though like when I was a kid, I had to depend and rely on my parents for stuff I didn't want to because of trauma. So in 2019, that was a few months after my darkest night when I was like, anything and everything I have to do, I will do because I cannot end up in that position again. If I do, I won't make it. I had to rely on my family to pay my rent because I wasn't working and I wasn't in school. Um, so and like that's when it was very like because I remember in the beginning I was good. I had a little bit of money saved up. I had a credit card that I could charge. And I was like, I'll start working eventually, but like it's important that I start working through this girl because it was real close and it was real scary. And then when the funds started to run dry, like when I had to ask my best friend to help me out with the rent, I was like, girl, never again, never again. It's just easier. He's one of those people that I'm just like, I wish you would have said no and I would have just been evicted because it wasn't that bad. It was, but it wasn't. Um, and honestly, if again, it's one of those things that if it had gone another way, things could have turned out completely different. Is it something that I hold against them? Sometimes, but I try not to. I do. I try not to, and I think more often than not, um, it's something that I've mostly gotten over. But also at the same time, like the last time I was there, I was able to get an understanding of him that I hadn't before because he had never I feel like while we were together, we had never necessarily had the opportunity that we had for him to be triggered in the way that he was triggered and I was also triggered and we were both triggered and after a few days or after a day or honestly at that time he is a lot quicker to be like, let's talk about this. I am feeling my feelings. I am feeling my emotions. And you don't want to hear what I got to say right now. And I know that I'm like, I was like, and that again, it was like, why am I overreacting? Like, I know I'm overreacting, but these feelings aren't going away. It was an opportunity because of the depth of the conversation that we had. I actually found one of his wounds. And I was like, whoa, because I feel like I've again, like I feel like there's never necessarily in the beginning, yeah. And I think that's why we bonded so quickly because we were vulnerable. Um because of him, honestly, because he was just like, hey, like if I'm gonna be friends with you, if I'm gonna be vulnerable with you, if I'm gonna open up to you, you gotta like promise me that you won't just like cut me out of your life without even telling me if I did something wrong. Because I've had people do that to me before and I don't like it. And this was like pre Darkest Night Patrick. It was like, oh yeah, I promise. That's the same Patrick that would literally do that to people. Because I just be like, they're not gonna understand why they upset me, even if I tell them, and then it's gonna upset me more, the fact that they don't understand why I'm upset. So I'm gonna save myself time and just disappear. But he was like, and then something happened that, and I tried to explain it to him, but he was dismissing my feelings and he wasn't listening to me, which was my trigger. And I was like, if you're not gonna listen to me, this friendship isn't gonna work. There's no point. Goodbye. And then he was like, you said that you wouldn't just leave without telling me. And I was like, I told you, but you didn't listen. That was way early in our friendship. But again, like there was something about him that I could tell that like he actually cared or that he had a capacity that I didn't necessarily feel from other people. Because I think there were quite a few people, and it's easy because we're people. And it's easy because we're living our lives to be more self interested or to be more primarily focused in what we are feeling or going through or what we want. Um, but it's like I would appreciate people that have the capacity to do both. And then I also do my best to have the capacity to do both. You know what I mean? We take care of ourselves, we take care of each other. Everyone's good. Everything's Gucci. Anyway, he was like, let's talk about this. And I'm like, I'm fine. I came out, and again, that was earlier this year. Um, honestly, is that not the same time frame? That's only 4 years. I don't know what that transit is. I don't know what that astrology is. Is it a transit? Is it astrology? I don't know. Because from January to May of 2019, which I was just talking about, excuse me, I wasn't working and I wasn't going to school and I was in my room and I was meditating. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. I had to rely on him and my family to pay my rent. And I was like, at towards like mid February, I was like, I really need a job. And it was like, me to me, every time I've talked to my advisor or every time I tell anybody why I fall into this mental spiral, why I spiral in the fall semester, why I spiral in the spring semesters and then have to recover in the fall. It's because I'm like doing too much class during the school year and I'm working over the summer and I never had the time to address my mental health and to work through the stuff that I've been pushing off and avoiding literally all of my life to the point that I can't avoid it anymore, which is right now. And things are falling apart, but I don't have the capacity to face them and go to class and work. And so it was like, remember when you said that you never had the time to work through that because of school and class? And I was like, yeah. It was like, okay, well, now you have no school and now you have no class. So work on it. And I was like, okay, but I'm hungry. I have a pack of ramen noodles and $5 to walk 7 to 9 minutes to get a pizza from Little Caesars. Back when the hot and ready was only $5 and not like $7 or $8 or whatever it is now. I was like, I'm glad the prices were what they were then because I really would have starved. Um, and yeah, I had to like that's what connected me back to family, and that's what opened me up to like being okay with relying on people when I need them. Um, and then from January to May, same thing. I wasn't working, I wasn't in school, I was in my room. This time, however, though, I wasn't, starving and struggling to pay rent because I had severance and unemployment. I just like the end of like from January to the end of May. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that is how that worked in 2019, 4 years ago. But I also said that at the beginning of this year. It's like when I wasn't working, I was like, I'm in my room, I'm not working, I'm just like playing games and watching anime. And like from the outside, I've seen myself in this position before. But on the inside, things are completely different. The situation, it's like the situation may be similar if you look at it from the outside, but the circumstances are completely different. Because then I was starving and I couldn't pay anything. Now, yeah, I'm not starving and I'm not broke. But then, which led to the argument with my buddy, it's like although I had like severance and unemployment, I was like, oh, I can't spend anything. I don't want to do that because I didn't have a job. And it's like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't want to spend too much because I'm not going to have money. And he was like, yeah, money stressed our relationship because I would like, he's the type of person that I'm not going to say he's never starved because I'm sure there's been a time that he's been hungry. If you would see his relationship with food, if you could see his relationship with food, you'd think that there was a time that he have nothing. Um, but anyway, like I was like, because we were at Dishoom, we were standing in line in Dishoom, and I'm like looking at the prices. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are ridiculous. Like 13, 15, 16, 17 pounds for a entree or whatever. He's like, Patrick, like you literally pay the same prices in America. And I was like, no, I don't. This is crazy. And then I was like, wait, yeah, I do. You're right. And that highlighted something for me. And I remember because it was fresh when I met up with Kirsty and I was telling her about it. How, like, even though I wasn't working, how weird it was, I guess, that because even though I wasn't working, like I said, I still had severance and unemployment. And I was just like, I don't want to fall back into that like lack consciousness or that poverty mindset because like this is what it does to me, even when that's not necessarily the case. I don't have to be so tight fisted. And again, like just like I was taken care of and provided for then, I was taken care of and provided for that now or earlier this year. Um, why did I even bring that up? I guess I'm just rambling today, which is fine. Like I said, I'll probably just be talking to myself today. Um, ooh, let's hear. And where was I going with that? Interesting though. It's interesting because Ace of Pentacles is on the ground. Love that. The only, but all of these other pentacles are like up in the sky. They're not touching the earth. It's like on earth we're limited to one pentacle. And the outlaw is like the one who lives outside of the law. So it's almost like the outlaw is the one who gets all nine, even though you're only allowed to have one. It's like maybe we'll see. Is that the present moment going into the future? I mean, all of this is like, oh look, nine of cups, nine of pentacles. I didn't even catch that. That was completely lost on me. Those were the two good nines. So let's hope that we're done with the nines. Hey Janelle, how you doing? Um, but yeah, that was back then, and I recognized it. And again, there was a like that trip to the UK earlier this year. It started with me having this realization of all of the things that I was asking for in life that I wasn't positioning myself to, actively refusing. And the universe is like, how'd that work? How you gonna ask for something and refuse it at the same time and then be upset that this isn't happening or that isn't happening, but you are literally the reason why this and that aren't happening. But you keep asking for it, but you're not allowing it, but you're upset. And it's like you see the cycle that you're putting yourself in. And then I was like, oh my gosh, wow, it was me. It's me. Hi. Right? And then that was promptly followed by that poverty mindset, lack consciousness, slipping back into it. And he was like, you're getting severance and unemployment. Why are you acting like this? And I was like, because I don't have a job. Okay. And then I was like, that's not an acceptable answer. I don't want to be like this. And then we had the big blow up. And the big blow up actually not only did it help me, like that moment, it's almost like there was a knot. I almost want to call it a karmic knot, honestly. But it was a karmic knot because of like all of these different things that I was like mindsets that I had or ways of some things intentionally, some things not intentionally, some things I wasn't necessarily fully aware of, some things I was very much so aware of. Like I can only afford what I afford. And if you're going to expect billions from me when I have millions, don't spend billions on me. Just don't. Because I ain't got billions to give you back. And if that's what reciprocity looks like to you, I'm sorry. I can't do that. You go off and find what's for you, and I'm gonna go and find what's for me. Um, and I feel like I used to hold like it really tested my Taurus and stubbornness, honestly. And it, I think, was that no, my Pisces sun breaks through Taurus and stubbornness sometimes. Oh, okay. It's not like super super, but it's fairly close to alcohol. And when Medusa's are on and things are turning to stone, just don't even deal with me, honestly. Just wait until I'm in a better mood. That's what my family. I was literally just talking to my cousin about that the other day. because my mom, they like the people who raised me and who grew up with me, they know it's just like let him go to sleep, let him take a nap, he'll wake up in a better mood. And then it's like, okay, that's my reset button. It's a lot better now though, honestly. Um, so yeah, that came up. And then oh yeah, the karmic knot. It had a lot of, again, I call it a karmic knot because in the resolution of it, many things were like released or reframed. It honestly put me in a position to like make a choice and decision actively rather than like running the decision that I always make, you know what I mean? Um and then it followed, like the last thing was when he like yelled at me for 2 hours about how I dream these crazy dreams and then come up with a million and one different reasons why they aren't going to work. And then I never do anything. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's something that I never saw about myself. I mean, I kind of did, which is the reason why I started this whole journey. But I thought I had gotten better. And I did. I did get better, but there was better yet still that I could do. And he was the impetus for that. And that sat with me for like a month, if not a month and a half, of like, should I be doing all of this? Should I be living his way? And it was like, no. But it wasn't, it's like, it wasn't for me to do what he was telling me to do. It wasn't for me to go about things in his way. It was literally for me to just release resistance. Speaking of that karma, it's like there were karmic knots, there were knots in my energetic system, and it's been a year of like needing those out so that wish granted Ace of Pentacles, I can start to experience all of those things that the universe was honestly already like granting. But I was like, oh, it's like, no, not that one. I don't see anything in front of me. What? Anyway, also, it was like the last pass of my Saturn return. Yeah. Oof, girl. But, understandable. Um, anyway, what time is it? Yeah, I'll snow. I gotta go to bed so I can wake up on time. I still got plenty of time. I got time. Yeah. So where am I going? What was I talking about? And then that sat with me, and then trip, I did a little, because I was like, I really don't want to do the work that I was doing, but if I could live here, I would do it. I did a quick Google search. There was a ping on the Google search, and I was like, oh. And then I'm home and I'm marinating in that conversation a few days before I left. So I didn't get time to like process it. And I had no rebuttal. I had no argument because I did what he was accusing me of doing. Because he wasn't accusing me of doing anything, he was just illuminating and bringing to my awareness the things that I do. So I made the active choice to not be Ebenezer Scrooge and to actually like enjoy my time with my friend while I could. Like I had the resources to do it. I didn't need to be as miserly as I was being. Um, I see you. It's because she talks about that, but she's also more than that. I didn't need to be as miserly as I was. I wanted to like show him like how much I actually do appreciate him and everything that he does, because like I'm the type of person where it was like, we'll be going, like everything will be going so well, and then one thing will happen, and then it feels like all of the like as well as everything is going is just like out the window, like we start all over again. And I was like, no, like I'm allowed to be appreciative of the things that you do, but also be sad about other stuff at the same time. one thing doesn't cancel out the other. Like, I still appreciate those things. I think honestly too, and I think I told him. I don't know if I told him. I think I did. If I didn't, then I will. Um, I had like gotten comfortable or complacent, or not comfortable or complacent. It's one of those things that like it's like I have appreciation for everything that he does, and it's not that it's expected, but it's like that's the routine. You know what I mean? It's like if you live with somebody and they make dinner every day, like you appreciate them making your, well, hopefully you appreciate them making your meal, but since it's something that you expect, it's like it's not that the appreciation dulls, but that expectation is there. There's a pattern, there's a routine. And when he brought that up, I was like, I am appreciative of those things. And I don't want you to feel this way. And just because like this is happening, it doesn't negate all of that. We're not starting all over. But this is something that also is important. And this is something that to me matters. So we're not just going to pretend like it doesn't because of all of these other things that are going well. In order to keep this well-oiled machine, this well-maintained machine running, we have to address issues as they come up, because if they don't, we're going to reach the point where there are springs and sprockets and nuts and bolts flying off, and the thing it's in a total state of disrepair because of everything that we've neglected and whatever. And as someone who I appreciate in my life and who I would love to keep in my life, I'm the type of person that if we don't address it, the backlog is going to build, and then it's going to shift the scales to the point of this isn't worth it. So anyway, we had that conversation. It was illuminating. I was able to show my appreciation to him because again, I didn't know he had a wound there. I I've never known him to have a wound there, but apparently he does. Again, I feel like it wasn't triggered before that moment. And I got to make that conscious choice. Like, although this is my default routine running mode, the person in front of me I appreciate and I love more. So yeah, I'll spend a few extra dollars to get a better seat in the theater, and we'll go to that fancy restaurant that you know, I'll show my appreciation in a way that I'm appreciating you. And in that moment when I made that choice and decision, like that was a paradigm shift in a lot of ways. And I was like, ooh, okay, all right. We're learning, we're growing, we're making ourselves more and more and more available to things. And like this isn't even like on earth you're only allowed to have one pentacle. This is like previous Patrick could only get one pentacle, and then maybe two, and then maybe three. But the outlaw living outside of my own confines and my own previous limitations very, very, very plainly and very clearly. And it's me, like I'm a Pisces sun. This is my one of my majors. So it's like it's me being in my energy, girl. Especially after I'm talking about how much I love being me. Now I can love being a version of myself that I love being. Because I like to give when I can. And I like to be like, I'm a giver. It's one of my love languages. One of my love languages is I was in the store and I saw this and it made me think of you and I wanted you to have it. Or it's also like I wanted you to have this, so I bought it for you. Sometimes it's like I saw this and I thought of you, so here it is. Sometimes it's like I want you to have this, so here it is. That's one of them. And so I love being able to do that. You know what I mean? So it wasn't too far of a stretch. And again, it was an opportunity. I feel like growth had happened. But because of that, again, like I said, there were so many things in that one, and it was the full moon in Leo. Everything was perfect up until the full moon in Leo came and effed everything up. See, Chiron in Leo was like, you say you healed, huh? But let's see. And I was like, I'll show you, Chiron. Yes. It is. And I feel like, again, I say it to other people, but also too, I was very like, if you can't honor me or respect me in a way that I feel honored and respected, it's not going to work. Because I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get upset. You may or may not be clueless. You may or may not care. You may or may not do things to address this. And then I'm going to get more mad. And at that point, what's the point? You know what I mean? Anyway, but it also requires stuff on my part. I remember I asked him, it was a few years ago. I forget where we were going. I was like, actually, I think it was the summer of 2019, because I remember why I asked the question. So it had to be like June, probably 2019, because he was still on campus. It's before he left. Or did he come back to visit? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was like, if you had any relationship advice for me, what would it be? And he was like, be less stubborn. And I said, absolutely not. I'm flexible when and where I need to be, and I have boundaries where I need to have boundaries. And if you're trying to cross my boundary, you get no flexibility from me, because I'm plenty fluid, I'm plenty flexible. And now here I am, a little more flexible. It's like training your body, you know. You do the exercises and the stretches, and then before you know it, you're doing the splits with no pain. Who are you? Ooh, this is so like, as I was talking about being like a tower chaser, this is so me. I'm not gonna take it. I will. This is a bonus. This is a bonus. It's the Six of Swords, the Quester. I love RPGs, role playing games. I love like doing little quests and getting rewards and items. The Quester is the name of the game. Ooh, the bottom of the deck is the Archangel Commander. This is like the second or third maybe time that the politic has been behind the card at the bottom of the deck. And I think this is the third time actually. It might be the second. No, because the last time I saw it, I said, I saw that card last time. And here it is again. The politic. It's never at the bottom of the deck, but it's behind the card at the bottom of the deck. The politic is the Three of Wands, Sun and Aries. Three of Scepters. And the politic, it's three wise men. You see associations to the past, the present, and the future coming together to receive one vision. And the Three of Cups, it's three priestesses that come together and who like share a sacred space, but they all receive like their own vision because they're water gazing and they each have their own cup. But here there's one bonfire. So it's like it's this one vision, but it is told from three different perspectives. Anyway, the Archangel Commander is at the bottom of the deck under this Quester. Oh, look, they both have like, is that the moon? It honestly looks like it's the moon in the sky during daytime. I actually saw that when I was in London. And I think that was the day I was with Kirsty, because I feel like it was when we were at Trafalgar Square. And I was like, oh, look, it's the moon. That was Trafalgar Square, right? Right? I'm pretty sure it was Trafalgar Square. That's a bonus. That King of Swords has been coming out far too much. Excuse me. Now we have some air. So we had water and earth. We had earth and water. Now we have air and air. So is the fourth one going to be fire? Are we going in order from most to least dominant element? Maybe. The Quester with the Archangel Commander. It's almost very like nothing nothing lost, nothing wasted, everything. has something to offer. Um, I feel like this is also literally just about the journey. What's interesting is almost like its neighbor, um, which is the nine of pentacles, the nine of orbs, the eminence. There are swords that are floating over the water, just like these pentacles. Claw, or are they? Well, no, some of them are definitely. Oh, I see what you're doing. I didn't see that before. I've never seen that before, but I see you now. Yeah, they're floating over the water. I talked about telekinesis. Y'all remember I said I work with the Pisces, so we can talk about Pisces things. I talked about telekinesis earlier today. And the reason why I bring it up is because Mercury is being held. Mercury is floating, and because Mercury is floating, those swords are floating. Telekinetic. And it's the Archangel Commander. This helmet is important. I feel like I've seen that helmet on a card, and I don't know. I don't think it's in this deck, though. It might be in the Vitruvian edition. Ooh. Okay. All right. I ain't mad at you. Girl. No. So, as I was talking about the helmet, the name question mark word Helmuth, Helmuth, popped into my mind. And I was like, is that an anime character or something? I don't know. So I Googled it. And Google is like this Helmut Hubener was a German youth who was executed at age 17 by beheading for his opposition to the Nazi regime. And I was talking about the head of Medusa, Maimoun and Algol, the one that's beheaded. So there's that theme of beheading again. And all of these floating swords, if the sword is the mind, it's like, anyway. Maybe we're talking about the North Node. Maybe we're talking about my North Node in Sagittarius. There's no Sagittarian energy on the table. Um. Anyway, that beheading theme was interesting. But regardless, um, I feel like I'm not really looking into the imagery on these cards as much as I could be. So, and I was going to mention the outlaw because, that was an outlaw, I guess. He got executed. I'm looking into the image because I just feel like there's something that I'm like, I need to see. So I'm looking into the image to find it. And I'm looking 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 and I see this. Can you see that on the cloak of the quester? And then I'm looking. It makes me think of the Nocturne in the Vitruvian. I can't remember what it's called in this deck. That's one of the cards that really changed from second to third edition. But it is like Ouroboros question mark. It's like a snake. You see it? And then I look down at my outlaw, and there's the snake. Oh, look, they're like the red and blue too. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Definitely yeah, so that's why these like swords are floating, and yeah, because of the tide to the outlaw. What's interesting is though, because now that I look at the images again, remember how I talked about this politic that continues to be at the bottom of the deck? And this wish granted, we see these three goddesses. I don't know if they're all sitting on the same lotus, but we see those three right there. We got these three. But these three are a lot closer. But it's almost this like, I know what that is. I can't describe it, but it's this. Because it's this and then it's this. Okay. Anyway, that was a bone. The quester, the fool, the quester, the jester, the archangel commander. This archangel commander is also holding some interesting things. But like I said, this is personal, so you get what I share with you. Some of this is for me. Just like when I read for you, some of it is for you, you know. Maybe, hopefully, or maybe not. Maybe you take it and ruminate and things continue to unfold within you and you have certain realizations. Maybe not. Okay. There we go. Oh, girl. Well, y'all remember when I said I was chasing? It flipped over. Tower. We have 4 different planets and only elements and court cards in the bottom row. It's Jupiter in Pisces, Venus in Virgo, Mercury in Aquarius, and now we have Mars, the Tower. That's the title. So we have the wish granted, the imminence, the quester, and the tower. It's actually like, if you could look at it, I'll show you literally right here. It's sailing away from the tower. The quester is. So it's actually like how I started it and how I'm ending it. It's moving. It's like something that I read from beginning to end, but it's depicted as moving from end to beginning. And I said that. Probably one of the 4 shorts that are on this channel. I might just rewatch it. Something about the end being, I don't know if it was the same video or not. Um, but it was a video. I remember talking about how like it's changed, because if it doesn't change, basically you'll return to that same spot. And then, there was the thing about the beheading. Apparently, sometimes people got to go through stuff in order to really get it. Which, we're human. I'm human. I get it. I'm stubborn, though. So, I'm stubborn, and sometimes I can be a little not lazy. I'm going to say, honestly, lazy, conservative of energy. I like to use discretion when I exert energy. Probably more so because in the past I didn't really have a lot. Honestly, I have more than I used to, I guess. Anyway. And then the card at the bottom of the deck is on New World Order. Yeah, so literally. Also, another major, but this one is Saturn. So no, that's not a major. I thought it was a major because it has the element of earth in the mid. My midheaven is in earth and my midheaven is in Capricorn. That's literally what I was talking about. And then there's water. And then there's the Archangel Commander. So, like, the only glyphs down here were elemental. And then there were planetary glyphs at the top. But now we get Saturn with New World Order. I kind of love this. Cute. Is the politic at the bottom? Ooh, this time the Shining Gale is there. Knight of Swords. I guess I recognize the politic and the politic went away. That's how some things are sometimes. When you recognize it, when you see it, when you accept it, when you work with it, when you work past it, then it goes away. It becomes much less of a burden. But if you don't address it, then die, right? If you don't get your pipes fixed, then the sink is always going to be leaky. If you don't get your pipes fixed, and then something happens, it could also, like, they could burst and then your house could flood or whatever. Anyway. Planetarily for me, because this is fixed energy, also Saturn. That is my Saturn, my moon and rising, my Chiron, and my Pluto. Saturn, Pluto, Chiron, all pretty heavy. And then you have my moon thing. And like I said, my moon is like really close to all goals. Maybe that's why my moon is so harsh though. Sometimes. Because it is like it's squaring and opposing. Squaring Uranus, Neptune, and um Chiron, and then opposing Pluto. That's a little oof. Yeah, no wonder why the tower is here. But it's New World Order. Like, it's always for a good reason. You know what I mean? There's also, like, besides the pinnacles, there's a lot of, like, light down here in the bottom. Show you. So we see where the light falls in the New World Order. And the Archangel Commander, just like the Hangman, he's like, it's like the Hanged Man, but it's not in reverse. It's upright. He's standing on solid ground instead of hanging from a tree. And his, whatever that thing is called, is a little more luminous. And we have the Hangman. And out of the solar eye, because there's the eye of the moon, again, we have these lights like emanating out. Just noticed that. I kind of want to I'll pull a mystical shaman card to top this off. What am I saying? Honestly, oops. Again, it's just that, like, I have known that the universe, the divine spirit, God, was directing me to consider more and more and more what it is that I want, rather than just being like, oh, I'm open to everything and anything. Like, wherever I go is where I'll end up. And it's like, no, what do you want? I feel like it was almost like trying to get me, guide me to an answer. It's just too airheaded question mark to get it. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. Like this. And they're like, no, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. That. And they're like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? I'm like, I don't know what I want. So then insert this elaborate scheme of things that ended up with me being in the position that I'm in now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. I remember we had a meet and greet last Monday, and there was a question of like, if you could do any job for 24 hours, what would your job be? And I was like, growing up, I would either be like a lazy boy tester or like a food taste tester or a this tester or a that tester, which is an aspect of quality. And I work in quality. And then after that, a few days after that, maybe, I just had that realization. I was like, oh my gosh. Because again, I'm working at a place that I guess I didn't expect for it to be as much of what I want. Weirdly, like, because again, like growing up, it's exactly what I wanted. College was rough. Um, and then it was always like, oh, well, over the summer, I could like intern there, or I could work there, or I could see what positions they have open and be like a seasonal worker there. Never did it. Put in minimal effort. Didn't really try. And here I am, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. There's so much. And again, like every time I leave, I smell that smell, and I'm like, I love it. I'll be in there doing my job, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. The people look at me, and they're like, oh my god, like he loves it. I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's fine. And yeah, it was just that like I found the thing that I wanted, and it was a journey to get there. But every piece and every part of the journey brought forward its own things that are very much so worth it. That continue on. So anyway, told ya. A lazy boy, yeah. It's like you get paid to whatever. Like, hello. Someone's got to do it. Someone has to be paid to do that job. You know what I mean? Why not me? Mystical shaman, oracle cards. Give me like two at the most, but one would be lovely. Ooh, girl, no, no, not five. Oh my god. Actually low key kind of cute. This is low key kind of cute. So y'all remember how I said I started this by talking about how I was a tower chaser? And I was like, I feel like I'm not chasing towers anymore. I feel like I'm chasing the sun. Oh my gosh. They literally came out in the last cards. Love it. Yeah. That is Middle World. And it is the sun that nourishes the tree. There's almost this like, I'm gonna say tree of life energy, the tree of life, like the um what do you call the thing? It's like because the sun nourishes the trees and the things that eat plants. It's like the food web or the food chain. It's like that. But it begins with the sun. And it begins with a plant's ability to take in sunlight and use that to produce food, which is a little bit of activity to the good things. So, in a way, oh, and look, there's the open lotus, which is like the only plant. But in a way, because through that energetic tie, we end the reading where we started. So, that apparently was, again, every now and then, I think I've done it a few times lately, but maybe not. Let's call it the state of Patrick. Let's pull cards and talk about me and my journey again because like it's for me to watch and myself as in different points of my life, but also if you find anything helpful or resonant, it's also for you. You know what I mean? If you want it to be, if not, it's fine. um Also, it's for me. I don't know, it was like when things got really rough in like 2020. It was like it's important for me to still maintain a presence while things are rough. And it's important to me to talk about the things that I'm going through and to talk about the things that I'm experiencing. And again, I feel like now that things are shifting and turning and moving in the opposite direction, there's this tendency to almost like go dark. Some of the amazing, you know, um, while also not like I'm not gonna minimize things that aren't necessary. Like y'all hear me come on here and talk about stuff, but it wouldn't be fair, or it wouldn't remain an accurate depiction if I were to admit those things or these things. So that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? If you do the work, it pays off. If you listen to your intuition and you do whatever, it pays off. And sometimes we don't know why. Sometimes things may be unbearably slow. Sometimes we may want to just go, but it's been my personal experience and it is my personal truth that there is a reason for a lot of things. And most of those things, the upper majority of those things, I don't understand until I live more life. And then I'm like, oh, that's the reason why it was a no, because this yes is so much yes. This is a yes that I love. Oh my gosh. And that was a no that I'm glad is a no, because oh my gosh. You know what I mean? What's for us is for us and what isn't. And sometimes we think we know. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't. All right. I meant to actually get a mystical shaman first, but we'll get one of these first. Y'all remember how I keep saying, thanks, Holly. Um, y'all remember how I keep saying, anyway, the final card that came out is the Ace of Wands. I've seen all four aces. The first card that came out before I started was the Ace of Cups. When the Ace of Cups came out, the Ace of Swords was at the bottom of the deck, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, when I was just like rambling. And then the Ace of Pentacles came out, and now the Ace of Wands is here. We've seen all the aces, but we ain't seen a magician or a fool, even though the Ace of Pentacles kind of felt like a fool, but it felt like a fool that was in a position to receive. It also felt like a fool that was in a knowing of how to place an order. So it felt like a major arcana fool, like a major fool rather than like, anyway. Ace of Wands is the final card. Bottom of the deck is the Memory Keeper, which is the Sun in Scorpio, which kind of sort of in a way, opposing the Sun in Scorpio is the Moon in Taurus. This is full Moon Taurus energy. With the fire rising, fire on the ascendant. Interesting. If that fire is Leo, then that would be a T square between the ascendant, the sun, and the moon. Okay, fixed energy. What is Saturn retrograde? I don't know. I feel like this is significant. Full moon Taurus. We're going to have a full moon Taurus lunar eclipse, aren't we? I think so. Because we had a full moon, or is it solar? Is it a new moon Scorpio lunar eclipse? I could look it up. I'm not going to. Had a new moon Aries solar eclipse because it was two new moons in Aries. And the last one was a solar eclipse before the node switched Taurus Scorpio to Aries Libra. And then after the node switch Aries Libra, it's going to close with, I'm pretty sure, a full moon Taurus lunar eclipse. Interesting. Six of Cups, Six of Pentacles. I think this is about reevaluating. It's like renegotiating a contract, reevaluating terms and conditions. Um, or what's the other one? Like licensing. Um, is it terms and conditions or terms of conditions? It's the EULA, end user license agreement. That's what it is. Or the terms and conditions or something like that. I mean, it's because the Six of Cups can be the past, and because the Six of Pentacles is about reciprocity. It's like don't set the scale using an old standard. And the Ace of Wands is the thing that came out. It's like it's very much so like don't be afraid to dream bigger. Don't be afraid to have your mindset on the things that you really want. I feel like sometimes when we experience disappointment after disappointment, small or too because we don't want to be disappointed again. I don't know what's happening in between now and that eclipse. I don't know if it was a past eclipse. I don't know if this is just energy. But it's like don't shortchange yourself because that's what like the hand of the divine is balancing. There may also, I'm thinking about this, and it could be like when you were a kid, you were a lot more creative and imaginative, but you dulled as you grew older because the real world sucks. I'm sorry. Um, I'm not, but I am, but I'm not, but I am. I am, but I'm not, but I am. It could be open minded, anything is possible. I think this could also be about a maturation. Like as we grow and evolve and change and mature, so does our desires, and so does a lot of things. But it's like as everything is growing and changing and evolving, it's almost like we need to allow other things too as well. Almost like when I was a child, I played with childish things, but when I became a man, I put them away. I don't, but it feels like it's like a better way of doing something. It feels like taking, like it's less about like becoming boring or responsible when you're an adult. It's more about like some capacity, like your mental capacity, emotional capacity, your physical body. Things change and evolve and grow. Like there are certain things that you know better because of age, or you may have learned a better way at some point, and it's to like utilize those methods rather than like keep doing the old thing. Because Sun in Scorpio, um girl, I just had it and I lost it. There's a better way of going about it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not for me to dwell on for too long. There's a better way of going about things. There's a better way of handling things. There's a better way of doing things. And you know that now, but for some reason you're still like, just like something's antiquated. You know what I mean? Because the sun in Scorpio, Pluto is retrograding. Yes, Pluto is retrograding and it's about to head back into Capricorn, and Capricorn is about foundations. There we go. I was like, I knew there was something about that. But apparently, and the south node is in, so the sun is on the south node, but the moon is in the north node, which it honestly seems like has been the theme for this nodal axis. It feels like it seems like it's been like north node Taurus, where south node Scorpio, yeah. everything is just coming up and being revealed and all of this and all of that. And I remember saying, like, it might be the case that, like, while the South Node is in Scorpio, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be working on and working through, and we'll get the rewards of it as the nodes transit out of Taurus, basically. Or it's like we'll get it all lump sum at the end rather than getting these payments throughout. It's like when you get a monthly stipend instead of getting paid every week or biweekly. Um, and at least in my personal life, maybe because it came out of my mouth, it was my belief, and that's how it played out. Even though there have been like experiences throughout, but it seems like well, now Jupiter's in Taurus, so astrologically, it just happened to play out that way, where it makes astrological sense. Oh, at the end of the nodal transit, Jupiter's going to conjunct the North Node before the nodes transit into Aries Libra, and then we'll get it, or then it'll be like really good. Anyway, ooh, all right. Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. You weren't used for that long, but I used shuffles. Anything, I'll honor it. If it's 0 cards, I'll honor it. One. I said that hoping that no cards would come out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I didn't get a million. I had like 3 the first one. One of them did fall on the floor though. So, oh my gosh, I wonder if all my decks are going to be complete again. Or hopefully most of them at the very least. Who fell on the floor? It fell face down on the floor. The cards on the laptop are gorgeous. It's the Child and the Beloved were the 2 cards that came out face up on the laptop where I can see them in the first shuffle. And then in the last shuffle, the Beauty Way came out. Now there's a card on the floor, so we'll see. Thanks, Holly. October 28th. Interesting. Is that? No, I think his birthday is the 26th. Who is it? Who's on the floor? Is it going to be gorgeous? The Holy Mountain. What? So the Holy Mountain is the card that fell on the floor. The Child and the Beloved. 25 and 7, which is a 7-7. Girl. And then the Beauty Way is number 4. So these are all the cards. The Holy Mountain, the Child, the Beloved, and the Beauty Way. Oh, the Beauty Way actually the Beauty Way actually gives us an entirely different sense of directionality. The directionality before was like the child is a descendant of some mountain folk, and they're very like it can be like this is ancestral, this is you, and they love you. Because of the Beauty Way, it makes it seem like this beloved child is actually ascending up the mountain to meet whoever that individual is, if you can see him. And they're taking the Beauty Way, which is like this specific path up the mountain. Bottom of the deck is Upper World. Oh my gosh, no way. So this is mountain folk. Upper World with that person. Can you see them? I don't even know if they're there. It looks like somebody is meditating at the top of that mountain, like up in there. And with the Upper World, it's like, yeah, girl, it's about those folks. It's about them peoples. Okay, cool. Be they ancestors, be they spirit guides, be they guardian angels. What is it? Red and yellow, black and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Jesus loves the little children. That's what I got for you. I hope you all have an amazing whatever. Whenever you see this, I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that if you sit through this, that you get something from it. And I also hope that you, whatever you need to continue along your path, journey, and way in the way that is to do so. And I hope you, the discernment question mark, the receptive intuition, the ability to hear or see if you encounter challenge or blockage, what reward lies on the other side of that for you. I hope you patience when you need it. And I hope you courage and strength when it comes time for you to act. And I hope you a cool breeze on a hot day, girl. Or I hope you a warm blanket on a cold night. Um, and yeah, thank you, Holly, and almost at Brandy, who was and Janelle and Kudua for being here. I will catch you in the next one. And if I don't go live tomorrow, then the next time you see me, the setting will be very different. Because, like I said, things are changing. I'm going to be moving Friday. So it happened. Oh my gosh. I started this year like I want to move this year. And here we are. It's happening. So I will catch you when I catch you. Goodbye.